back to another episode of Room 1002. Y'all know what it's all about. I'm here showcasing the hottest up-and-coming artists right here in Atlanta, Georgia. You guys, I really feel honored to bring this special guest in today. She is a multifaceted woman, from a singer, songwriter, mother, business owner. I mean, the list really does go on, and I'm so happy to have her here to share it with you guys today. I want you guys to help me welcome to the room, Yah Yah.
What's up? Yah Yah here.
Oh my goodness, girl, did we not have to do so much to get you in here? You are a busy woman.
We got it together.
I'm so glad to have you here. Listen, it's an honor to still be bringing new content in December. You know, wrapping up the year with somebody of your caliber. So, girl, I just want to get right into it, honestly.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Yes, thank you. Listen, I'm going to start you off with a question that I ask all of my artists. Just, you know, that opportunity to really express yourself and tell the people. So I want to know, who is Yah Yah?
Who is Yah Yah? So, I feel like the answer to that question has changed a few times.
I love that.
But where I am now, as you mentioned, Yah Yah, you know, she carries so many different hats. But with that being said, the reason I even became Yah Yah was for that reason as well.
Okay, talk to us.
So the Yah Yah, it was a name change. I rebranded a few years ago.
Okay.
I used to go by my name Shemaya Lachey, which is my government as well. But I wanted to separate the artist Yah Yah and, you know, the businesswoman,
yes,
the mother, you know, all of that from who the artist was. Because as an artist, you know, being someone, I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah.
You know, growing up, you know, hardships, overcoming them. You know, growing up in an urban area with a single mother of 5. You know, there's a lot of things that I feel like I had to share, as it pertains to, you know, just being relatable to many women my age. And I feel like the place that I am in now as a woman, it kind of pulls from my story.
Yeah.
You know, growing up. And being that relatable woman, even though I know, you know, I'm relatable as a mother, I'm relatable as a fiancé,
yes,
so much more now because we're allowed to highlight that as artists. There was a time where it was like, oh, you know, you should
must
wait
be
to
private,
have,
absolutely.
you know, you should wait to have children, you should wait to do this, you know, you should be singing on this industry, whatever. And now it's like, it feels so good to be able to share those things. So I feel like I'm in a place now where Yah Yah is able to express all of that, and, you know, just not feel ashamed of it, you know.
And you shouldn't.
Yah Yah is a woman, you know.
Yes.
Yah Yah is fun. Yah Yah is, you know, relatable, you know. She's been down, she's been up.
Absolutely.
You know, she perseveres, and I just want to share that.
Well, I want you to know that your aura definitely displays a woman with a lot of depth. You know, before I met you, I actually scouted you out.
Okay.
It's interesting. I'm always looking for new opportunities to speak to new artists. And I have to just shout out my internship really quickly. Black Girls Guide to Atlanta. Shanita Miller, you keep me in the fold.
Yes.
You make sure that I make those connections, and I'm so grateful for you, so thank you. But she mentioned this event with Bridge Boutique.
Yes.
And
Shout out to Bridge Boutique.
Shout out to Bridge Boutique, a very beautiful place, ladies.
Yes.
Don't sleep. But she mentioned this event at Bridge Boutique, and I saw your face on the flyer, and I was like, uh-oh, that's an artist. Let me see what she's about. So I go to your page, and I immediately was like, yep, I'm committing. So little did my boss know, I really went to scout you out. She might know now, but I really went to scout you out, and I kid you not, I'm walking down and getting ready to walk into Bridge Boutique, and I can hear you out in the street, because you know they keep the door open. Your voice is so angelic, it was soft, there's this acoustic sound, and I'm like, let me get up in here and see about this girl. And it's funny because though that day was a very long day for me, I waited, I stayed the entire night because I just really wanted to stop and speak to you. You know, and that group of support even that you had there, that's just like, yeah, that's my girl. And you know, everyone was so positive that was around you.
Yes.
But even just like your style, you know, even here today, like you can tell that you have a lot of layers. And so I'm really glad that you're sharing that with us. I know you mentioned just a little bit that a lot of your background plays a part in how you became Yah Yah and why you're a singer. Can you dive into that just a little bit?
Okay, so you know, a little cliche. I grew up singing in church.
Who didn't?
Right. You know, started at a very young age. You know, remember my first solo and you know how that felt. You know, just making the audience light up. You know, it gives off an energy to you, and you know,
builds that confidence.
You know, and from then, of course, that was where my start began. I was like, you know, in my city, I would sing at basketball games. I would sing at government events. My mayor now, I sung at his wedding.
Wow.
Before he was mayor. He's always supported me through the years. And high school, my uncle was managing me at the time, DJ 5D back home. Shout out to him.
Shout out.
And that's when I started performing. I put a whole 6-piece band together.
Okay.
I had like 6 of my girlfriends. They were my dancers. And I had a chance to open up for some big artists my sophomore year of high school.
That's awesome.
I opened up for artists like Lil Wayne, Trey Songz.
Yeah, come on now.
Carl Thomas.
She said, I've been doing this.
But these were all shows my uncle, he was a promoter as well.
Absolutely.
So they would bring these artists to the city and, you know, I had that opportunity to open up for them. So started at a really young age, you know, got that experience. Always loved the stage. The stage has always been my home. I feel like that's where I really captivate and capture my audience.
Yes, and you do.
Thank you. So through the years, you know, becoming more into the songwriting space and being more of a studio and recording artist as well, especially today, you know, with auto-tune and all that. It's a whole nother world outside of the stage. And I feel like for a very long time, I had gone into a shell because I was always in that space so much where I started to lose my artistry in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, then the social media started happening and, you know, that was just like a shock for, I feel like, my generation of artists coming up because it was like, okay, here come all these young ones and they're amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I think what they have is amazing. You know, being able to share their artistry on these platforms and not have to worry about, you know, walking into labels and auditioning.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
You know,
it kind of takes away that element, like that strife of work that they don't really have to put in. I can respect that.
Exactly.
I can respect
you know, whereas for us, it's a little, it's like, because, you know, we're not so savvy, you know, with the social media or want to be on there as much.
Yeah.
And I can say that's like been one of my, you know, hardest parts about my current artistry, just trying to really showcase who I truly am.
Absolutely.
Through a screen. You know, a social media screen in a sense, because it's like you want to share, but it's like, how much do I have to share? How much, you know? So it's like, I want to make sure I portray that through my music, but, you know, there was just a period of time where I feel like that got lost. But when I started touring a few years ago, I got to tour with Shaggy, who was a reggae artist.
Okay.
I toured with him from, well, you don't even know when, but it happened.
Women never want to tell their age. It's so funny to me.
All right, it was 2013 to 2016.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago.
I'm like, you act like,
it was irrelevant information. I don't know. But, you know, even with that experience, that taught me a lot as an artist as well. You know, it solidified and confirmed the fact that, okay, I do want to tour. Like, that's like one of my biggest dreams. I want to headline a tour of my own. I want to be able to travel the world and say, you know, Yah Yah is coming to a city near you.
I love that.
Yeah, so, you know, that is in the works for sure. But yeah, I mean, the list goes on as far as the journey.
Yeah.
Which I feel has been the best part. You know, there's been a period of times where I feel the journey sucked, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting that you even say that because when we first met, you mentioned that to me. You know, we had just a really brief conversation. I was really just trying to sell my show to you. Like, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I want to share it with you, and why I want you to come onto the platform. And I just remember you kind of sharing with me, like, girl, that would be wonderful because I have some stuff to say. I have been in some situations. I have had, you know, just some hardships, period. And I've been, like, literally waiting just to hear this story because I feel like as women, it's like that number one thing that it's almost like we're guaranteed some hardship. That's not to say that men don't go through things.
You know, and it's so crazy because I feel, what was that, 2-3 months ago?
Maybe so. It was like August, maybe.
When we met, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I mean, I feel like as an artist anyway, we go up and down with how we feel. 1 minute you want to just throw it all out.
Oh, yes. That's, you know, any business owner.
Yeah, that's anything, right? So even then, you know, it's like an epiphany. It's like one moment it's like, okay, the journey sucks. It's like, that's what we always want to share. Oh, the struggle, you know, of what this has been. But I'm in a space now where it's just like, the journey is truly the best part. And I think when we come to actually realize that, we don't realize we're learning things, you know, to get us to the place that God ultimately wants us to be. And I feel like once I'm there, whereas I do truly feel like I'm ready now. Whereas 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I wasn't. Although I may have thought I was. And you
thought you were. And that's what created all that anger, all that anxiety. I can honestly say I have been so impatient with my platform this year. It's just started this year, and I've had moments where I'm like, I don't even have to do this. It's just too much. Nobody's supporting me. People aren't. And then I think about all the people who, when you see them hit their prime and you're in the beginning of yours, it almost feels unfair. Like, oh man, you got what I wanted, but you don't know where people are in their journey. They could be coming out of their dark period or coming out of that and just finally having a breakthrough. And so it's really taught me to appreciate just, you know, even every artist that I've spoken to has mentioned that, just having that, being connected with your own individual journey and career has nothing to do with others. And so I really love that you shared that with us, and that you're like, actually, I know when we originally talked, we were going to talk negative, but let's just turn that around and make it a positive. I like that.
Because also I feel like, you know, the desires of our heart, it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, that's his desire for us in a sense, you know what I mean? So it's like, also even with the gigging, I know you mentioned, I just started doing the solo gigging.
Really?
Again, I used to do it here and there, but the end of this year has been amazing for me as it pertains to gigs. Yeah. I've been making great money. You know, as artists, a lot of times we're struggling artists because we're out here, you know, we're doing the work, we're doing shows for exposure, we're doing this, we're doing that. But, you know, a lot of times it ain't paid until you really get there, right?
Get there, yep.
And here I am, I'm like, you know, I'm taking on these gigs. People are actually calling, requesting my talent. And, you know, the end of this year, I feel like I've been making the most money I've made doing this, you know, outside of, you know, bigger gigs and stuff, not solo ones. But it's like, girl, why wasn't you doing this before? It's like, here I am thinking, you know, I have to be at the top of the top, you know, whereas, you know, there's levels right here that I can be enjoying, you know, but my eyes are so big that I can't see what's right in front of me.
Yeah, that's
you know?
good.
And I've been in that space, you know, lately, and I think that's what really, you know, has been pushing me as far as, you know, the scripture or just the different quotes about, you know, take it easy on yourself, because
absolutely
where we're headed or where we're meant to be is going to happen.
Absolutely. And I love, like, I was doing a little bit of just research and just kind of taking a look at your actual social media. I'm a communication specialist, so off the top of my head, even the most unintentional artist, I know for a fact your social media is still going to tell me your story. Even if it's just a piece, even if it's just a section of who you are, it's going to tell me. And I love that, you know, your bio, you're very intentional about mentioning God, mentioning scripture, the fact that you're a family-oriented person. And I know that you said for your type of artist or the generation of artists that you're in, it kind of feels like hard to break into that social media aspect and really represent yourself. So I want to know why you chose that particular scripture. You have Deuteronomy 31:6 in your bio. And I want to know why you chose that scripture to be the, you know, one of the first things that we see when we come on your page before we see anything about singing or anything like that.
So the funny thing about it is, and I'm like, look, when we talk about this, you're gonna be like, really? But, you know, I grew up in church, but I was never the girl who, you know, remembered scriptures off the top of her head.
Don't feel bad. I am, when I say that's the most relatable thing I've heard this year.
Girl, you know, you say the scripture, you say that number in that chapter, I'm gonna have to go look at it. But ironically enough, that particular scripture, I just happened to come across it one day. And it's, you know, it stated what it was. I can't tell you offhand. I have to go look at it. But it resonated with me because, you know, it talked about pretty much what I was just, you know, speaking of as far as, you
don't
know,
have any
fear not. You know,
yeah.
it's like, don't stress, you know, he got me. Like,
yeah.
I don't have anything to worry about. I feel like as long as I'm doing the work, as long as I'm, you know, constantly pushing through and believing that what is for me is for me, you know, there's nothing to worry about.
And that's a really powerful stance to have.
Yeah. And I try to live with that daily, so it definitely stuck with me, and I wanted that to be seen, you know, because I feel like it should, you know, stick with most of us. And
then too, with social media, you know, it's really easy for people to try to put together and piece together what they think of you. Mm-hmm. So I feel like just even having little nuggets like that in your bio, it's just like, let me let you know, even if I post something today on my story, like, man, I'm just having a rough day or things are hard, I still stand by, you know, my Lord is not going to forsake me. And I know you even mentioned earlier about being a mother and being a fiancé. You know, that's a really powerful place to be in when you're navigating motherhood, becoming a wife, being an artist, owning businesses. Can you talk to us about that? Because I know you said you're engaged, honey.
Well, yes, we've been engaged for a minute. So me and my fiance, we are both in music. We met in the studio, and as I mentioned, you know, just being in music, it's a up and down industry, as we know, and there are certain things that we are both working towards. So, you know, when he asked me, you know, to be his wife, I found out a week, 2 weeks later that I was pregnant.
Oh,
so, you know, life just sort of happened, and honestly, time's been flying. You know, when it first happened, you know, of course, I'm like, oh, wedding. But honestly, like, I have not started planning anything.
I understand.
But, you know, he's my piece. You know, I believe I'm listening for him. And I just feel like as long as we're in a great place, you know, we have plans on what we want to do with, you know, the wedding portion. Well, we think we know. We still trying to figure it out, child.
That's how it is. It's like, as long as we still just agree we having a wedding, cool.
Exactly. We still trying to figure it out. You know, my son's going to be 5 this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so, and, you know, the motherhood side, you know, it's amazing. But honestly, it took time learning how to navigate each area.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not easy. You know, you're trying to be there, you know, for your partner. You're trying to be there for your child. You know, it's like, that's a grab on top of, you know, being an artist, being a songwriter, you know, taking time out for that. Like I said, it's a win-win because we're both in music, so
absolutely,
that, you know, we understand the lifestyle.
And you guys work together a lot?
We work together a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, we just understand the time it takes, you know, so he's there for me when I need him. I'm there for him when he needs me, you know. Our son is, you know, he never feels neglected within it. You know, we make sure that is taken care of. As far as my businesses outside of music, I have an administrative services business. So that's typically what I'm doing on a daily basis.
Yes.
And I got into that because, you know, I needed something that was flexible to allow me to still
do your music. Absolutely.
Exactly. And, you know, I prayed for that. And it came literally the year I got pregnant. And, you know, it's been a blessing, man. It's been a blessing. But like I said, it took time to figure it out.
Absolutely. I know you also have another little baby, and it's called Thrift.
It is.
And I do want you to touch on it just because, listen, I grew up with a mother who, my mom might as well have her own thrift store.
Really?
Like, she loves thrifting. It's interesting. We didn't grow up with much. We weren't poor, but it was enough to still be able to say, like, I can go get my kids nice on-brand things, just maybe not at on-brand prices. I literally got my first Nudie and Burke from a thrift store. And I'm trying to tell you, my first Aeropostale shirt, all of it, like, so, I just told my age.
Listen, I knew nothing about thrifting when I was young, and I wish I did. You know? I mean, you know, I knew there were, like,
thrift stores,
you know,
right.
Goodwill and things like that, but I did not know
the quality, and the experience, and the expression.
Exactly.
That
I've always been very expressive with dressing. That's something I've always been like. I've always grown with my friends, and they like, Shamira, you can do that, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, or I've always been able to, like, envision a look. Like, I didn't have to put it on. Like, I could, like, you know, just put some things together. And I've always been the type of person, I'm not gonna ask you what you're wearing tonight, because my thing is, I'm gonna wear what I want to wear.
Yeah.
You know? I don't care what the look. Like, I feel like what you wear is so expressive, and it allows you to just express yourself without words. So
that's where you came up with the idea for thrifting.
Yeah. So when I did start thrifting, which, you know, like I said, I was like maybe early, maybe 21. When I first, you know, really got introduced to thrifting. Yeah, and, you know, like you said, once I went in there and I would see, like, the different things I could, you know, put together or find. You know, when you find those treasures and you get really excited.
The windbreakers and the jeans.
Yes. It's just very exciting, because it's like you find these diamonds in the rough. It's like something somebody, you know, considered trash, and I'm about to make this thing treasure. And I just thought that was so amazing to be able to do. So thrift came about, was it during COVID or right before COVID? I can't quite remember. I want to say it was before. Time just keeps flying.
It does. I'm like, it's about to be 2023, so.
Yeah, it was something I always enjoyed doing. You know, I would have different people ask me, oh, you know, where'd you get that? Or da-da-da. So I'm like, you know, maybe I should start, you know,
putting some pieces together.
But then I came across this one girl who has this business called Random and Chic.
I love that.
Are you familiar with it?
No, the name is just really cute.
Random and Chic. So she has, like, she sets the ball for thrifting.
Okay.
She does the flips, she does the upcycling.
Yeah.
And she makes this stuff look like, you know, it came out of, you know, a designer store.
Absolutely.
But I remember reading her ebook, and it just really inspired me to start my own.
That's cool.
So yeah, shout out to her, Random and Chic. Check her stuff out on Instagram. She's amazing. But yeah, it inspired me to start thrift. And initially it was just me. But then the way I came across my business partner with it, she's actually a photographer. And I did one of my last video shoots at her location, at her studio. And it was something, you know, we both were really into. We started talking about it. And at the time, I didn't have much going on with thrift, but because, you know, she had the studio, she had the photography.
Yeah.
She's like, you know, we can do this thing together. Whereas, you know, she can come in on that side to allow us to really market it.
Absolutely.
You know, so, you know, we started putting it together. We did a few vintage cons. We did a few thrift cons just to kind of, you know, get a feel for it. But then, like I said, you know, with all the different things I already have going on, I have a tendency, I'm an Aries, so I can be very impulsive. So, you know, I take on these things, I get really excited, but the reality is I just can't do it all
at one time. Yeah.
Exactly. And unfortunately, because there is so much I want to do with thrift, especially the upcycling.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I really want to do with it, and I can't sell. So I'm actually taking some courses right now.
That's awesome. Invest in yourself.
Exactly.
It's not always the best time for the idea, but the fact that you have the idea means it's something to go with.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So we started, you know, we had a good year. That first year we started, and we were doing the different conferences and different things like that. But, you know, we made the decision to put a hold on it. She has a lot going on as well. I don't know if you're familiar with DJ Scream's show on Revolt. What is it called? Okay, I can't think of it right now. But she's on that show.
Okay. Well, that's what's up. Like, I mean, it's not like you guys just kicked it to the curb.
Yes.
Both people are really working on something, doing something.
Thrift will be coming back soon, and it will be making it smart with some good stuff. So,
you know, I love the concept of having multiple avenues. I think it's interesting being a woman, because there are some days where I genuinely feel like, who told y'all to get up there and tell them people we want to go to work and we want to do all this stuff? I want to sit at home and keep my house looking nice and have tea with my friends. And then there's some days where I'm genuinely like, oh my goodness, I feel so lazy. I haven't done anything today. What can I get my hands on? What can I get into? And so I can also totally relate to that idea of like, I have all these ideas. I start all these things and I look up and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all these things? But I can tell you know, one person who actually really helped me with that, and she didn't help me directly, but she indirectly helped me, is Issa Rae. Like, I really just studied the fact that this woman took one concept and was able to turn it into 50 different things. and really truly give other people opportunities. And I really think that that's what it's all about for me. And I'm seeing that more and more in the music industry too. Like a lot of us are working together more,
Yes.
like putting each other on, putting together shows and things together. And you know, like I said, the last time that I saw you, though it was in August, like you just said, you've been gigging, you've been having opportunities. So that's really freaking awesome to hear. And I want to know, like, what's coming up for Yah Yah? What's next for you?
Yes, so I just released a Christmas song.
That's
at the end
cool.
of the year. So that was the last thing that I was screwing up. But aside from that, I am looking to drop a lot of new music top of the year.
Okay, yes.
Yes, I don't have an exact date, but it's looking more towards like the end of the first quarter. Because I mean, initially we were aiming for January, but you know, here we are.
It's December already. It is January.
Yeah, it's January. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So look out for that. We're going to be releasing the songs one by one. You know, kind of just slowly, you know, letting it out.
Yeah, drop a couple singles.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I've been working with Dominic and Needles on that. Who is actually, Needles is Manana, who's the owner of Bridge Boutique.
Wow.
Husband.
Look at that.
Yes.
The world is...
Yes. So that's how I actually came to, you know,
that gig and
at
everything.
that gig.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, man, we've been working. As far as the songwriting goes, I've been doing a lot more of that. Working on some very cool artists. So I'm excited.
I was about to ask, are you writing for anyone?
Yes. So I'm excited about those releases. Top of the year, 2023 should be a good year.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think like as I'm ending out this year, now that I can look back over all of 2022, I'm ending this year thinking like, I know all the things I want to do different with Room 1002. I'm actually excited for that break of New Year so that I can be like, oh yeah, we're on a new tip, baby, season 2, you know, and it feels good. And, you know, closing out the year, especially because you said you're about to do so many new things in the new year, what do you feel like you need to work on most before you make that transition into 2023?
I would say even more consistency. This year has been so much better as it pertains to my consistency, and I've seen the results of that. So I'm just so excited to even see how much more is going to come with me going even harder.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, y'all listen, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come out in Room 1002. I've thoroughly enjoyed you, and I really hope this is not our last interaction. Before we end the show, can you please tell the people where they can support you, follow you, and where we can stream that new Christmas song, because I'm ready to hear that.
It's on all streaming platforms. It's called Fireside, featuring Damo. As far as where you can find me, say.yah on all platforms. Instagram, that's where I spend most of my time. So come check me out. That's say.yah.
Okay then, well listen, y'all already know what I'm gonna say. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support the platform. Do not forget to like this video, share the video, comment, and of course subscribe to the channel. If you guys know any artists who you know would love to be featured on Room 1002, please go down into my description box below, click on the artist suggestion box, and send me over their info. I can't wait to bring some new people out onto the platform. That's all I've got for you guys today, and